Hi, my name is Kevin, and I'm part of Group 12, and I'll be covering the Identity 5 portion of our final code review and demo. Our project is MindPath, a full-stack web application sponsored by Kenage. The high-level problem we were asked to address is that many seniors in Canada face difficulty finding the right mental health resources and understanding what steps to take when they need support. So this is especially important because mental health support in Canada is not always straightforward. As Jenna, the person from Kenage in charge of this project, explained to us, mental health coverage and available services can vary by province. For example, some services may be covered through provincial health plans, while others, like counseling or therapy outside of certain public programs, may require private insurance, out-of-pocket payment, or referral. So that creates an unclear path for seniors who may already be dealing with stress, grief, isolation, or health concerns. So this qualifies as a complex engineering problem under the ABET criteria for several reasons. First, it involves diverse stakeholders, including seniors, caregivers, Kenage, content creators, admins, and public users. Second, it includes many connected components, such as mental health pathways, crisis resources, blogs, authentication, role-based dashboards, user profiles, safe content, and analytics. Third, there is no obvious solution because the system has to balance accessibility, trust, content management, and the sensitive nature of mental health information. So overall, MindPath is not just a general resource website. It is a managed platform designed to help Canadian seniors find clearer, more trustworthy paths to mental health support, while giving Kenage and authorized users the tools to organize and maintain that information.
Hello, my name is Rachel. I will be taking you through our process of solving the complex problems surrounding the creation of the MindPath application. Since we were tasked with a unique problem of merging a medical application with social media features while keeping the target audience of middle-aged and senior Canadians in mind, we placed a heavy emphasis on redesigning the application to be easy to navigate and accessible. Here are a few of the designs that we created during this process, which were later implemented into the application. We also went through many other iterations just to decide on what would work best for the application's needs. We also used Agile Scrum development practices to center our work around features that will benefit the stakeholders. Creating user stories from not only the perspective of developers, but also the sponsor and the different roles that users assume in the application allowed us to narrow our focus on the features that mattered. Previously, the application had many bells and whistles implemented by the last development team that were never a part of the original requirements of the application. Now, the application's goal and features are clear: serve Canadians in their path to receiving the help that they need by providing them with the resources that they need to do so at their fingertips. Next, Anthony, Nick, and Isaiah will take you through some of the core features of the application that helped us accomplish that goal.
Hello, my name is Anthony Martin, and I just wanted to showcase some of the work we did this semester. So for the registration page, I designed it to conform to WCA 2.1 standards by including larger input fields and buttons to make interactions easier, clear color contrast to help with visibility, consistent spacing, simple readable font sizes, and hover and disable states on buttons for clear feedback, as you can see here. Okay, so for the dev side, when the form is submitted, this code will run and validate if any of the fields are missing. If one is, it'll state that it is missing. For example, if the first name is missing, the page will state that the first name is required, as shown here. First name is required. If none of the fields have missing inputs, the form will then send the data to the backend, which will further validate the information right here. Oops. When properly validated and stored, the result will be a success and state that the registration was successful. The user will then be redirected to the home page. We click sign up. It'll say registration successful, redirecting to home, and we're at the home page. And of course, if validation or storage was unsuccessful, it will say that the registration failed. And here is the actual code for the registration page itself, or the registration form, rather. And here is the CSS. All right, so moving on to the login page. Nick designed this to also conform to WCA 2.1 standards by ensuring that there are large input fields and buttons, clear color contrast, consistent spacing, simple readable font sizes, and hover states on buttons for clear feedback. So for the dev side, when the user inputs a password and email, the input will be validated to ensure that there are no blank fields. If there are none, the user would be redirected to the proper dashboard based on their role stored in the backend right here. For example, an admin user would be redirected to an admin dashboard. And here is the code for the login UI. And the associated CSS for it right here. Just to show how the login works, I'm going to log in with the previously created account. And it says login successful, redirecting, and everything should work properly. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
This is the blog implementation for MindPath, one of the major features in MindPath. So we are on the blog creation screen right now. I have some data imported on here just to save some time in the video. Got the title, excerpt. We have links that you can add as many as you want. These are just kind of relevant to the blog, or if a content creator, let's say, has their own third-party external blog or YouTube or whatever they might want to link. Here, for example, I just linked the Canadian Mental Health Association, which is right here. Then we have our body and then a simple cover image of whatever they want to add onto the blog. And this is also optional, so you don't have to add the cover image. And then we have a nice preview button down here. So content creators can kind of preview what the blog might look like and maybe edit it up. So you can see kind of how the sections are split up a little bit because I added some white space and it transforms to here. Nice thing about the blog preview is that this is live. So if you wanted to change up some of the details or something, you don't have to re-click hide preview and then show preview. It is right here. And then there is a save draft button and a submit for review. This is save draft is just so the content creator can come back to work on it. Submit for review is where it will go in as review status, and then that is when the super admin can take a look at it and whether approve it to actually go onto the blog pages or not. So we are just going to click submit for review here. You can see blog submitted for review, and then just for since we're still in development purposes, when we go to blog, it will just show up there. As you can see, we have a lot of test blogs on here. So this won't happen. This should only be on the super admin so that they can approve it. But obviously, due to testing purposes and demo purposes, this will automatically show up on the blog page. Now in here, we can click through it, and we can see this is what the actual blog looks like on the blog page. Now let's just go over to some of the code real quick. We can see there are two different methods here, one that handles the save draft and then one that handles the submit for review. The only difference between these is we can see the status here is draft for obviously the save draft, and then for submit for review is obviously pending review. This is so we know which ones should be ready to be approved or whether they need some more work. And then the draft is so the content creator can kind of maybe save something that they have not finished and work on it whenever they want to pick it back up. And if we scroll down, we can see here is the show preview. The way the live feature works is that it just pulls local data straight from the same file as the content creators kind of filling in the blog data. This is to prevent having to save hundreds of blogs to the database, just in case they end up being not done in a sense. But yeah, that is about it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isaiah from Team 12. I'm going to be showing off pathways here. So to start, here's our pathway controller.js, kind of showing that what will be happening is that the requests and responses are handled in the HTTP layer. Meanwhile, the logic is handled in our pathway service.js. An example of that would be our get pathway by public ID. Basically, what this does is that it fetches the pathway in the format order. So that's important because items are not going to necessarily be formatted the same. So because of how the requirement the sponsor had, they wanted items to be reordered arbitrarily, basically. So anyway, once they created the pathway, they wanted to be able to move items around instead of having to delete it and start the entire pathway over. So that's what content helpers is here. And it's not specific to pathway. I made sure to make it reusable, so it's also usable in blogs as well. And then in our pathway context, so for our pathway context, basically I made it so it centralizes the data, the content items, the upload progress, and validation errors. And so that's a little short overview of the pathway. And so next we have our the user perspective. So I'm going to show you the user perspective here. We're going to log in as a super admin, as they're the ones who can create the pathways. And so you can see here when I click create new pathway, I can put in the title, I can put in the item, and I'll go ahead and put in the second item. And you can see that they're draggable. Let me drag this. Uh-oh. Sorry, that's not me. So you can see you can drag it. There, AB, AB. You can create pathway, that'll save it. But since we're running low on time, I want to go ahead and show you just what a completed pathway would look like. So a regular user would click on here. They would look at the pathway and then they'd be able to save it. Something else I forgot to mention is that when you make a pathway, you have the option to add it here or not to add it. So it can exist as a dropdown, or it can be its own secret link that the sponsor can share. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.